Hello, I'm Aloysius. I'm the owner of Haunted Harbor Tours, and I've actually already recorded and edited to completion the story of the Young Teazer. But I realized the tone was wrong. I was invited to an Icelandic sea captain's house. He lives here in Annapolis now. He invited me over, regaled me with many of his tales, and I decided I would tell him the nautical story, which I was going to tell this week. And as I told it to him, I realized that the somber tone I told it to him over dinner was actually better than the jovial, irreverent tone I had taken in the video when I recorded it. I'm also going bare bones with this. There is no monitor. With notes. There are no sunglasses. I may get a couple of facts wrong. In fact, it's highly likely that at some point I might call the ship the Young Teazer instead of the Young Teazer. I managed to record this in mostly one single take. I've decided to include a few clips so that you can see the change of tone at the end of the video. I honestly think it was one of my funniest videos that I've recorded to date. Though I don't plan to release the full thing, I would like just let me know in the comments if you think this somber method was appropriate for this story, or if you would like me to release the rebel clip, as I'm kind of calling it. This is a story of the War of 1812. The reason I took such a irreverent approach to it is finding the way to explain or to get into the War of 1812 is quite difficult. America was most likely the aggressor. It's possible that we were helping out France by distracting the British. It's also highly likely we were upset with England for disrupting the Treaty of Paris. 10 years after they signed the treaty, they were now shanghaiing our American people, forcing them to participate in the Napoleonic War and help out and work as essentially slave labor to the British. We also just generally didn't like the British. They were kicking up and around Canada, and it was a little too close for comfort. We commissioned privateers. Now, a privateer is part of any nation. Anybody who, in that period, who had interests in the New World had privateers. They were men given contracts that they signed that allowed them certain privileges in the ocean. Privileges that basically summed up that you could commit acts of piracy to enemy nations. France used them, Spain used them, the Brits used them. Pirates of the Caribbean 4, Captain Barbossa is given privateer status, for a pop culture reference there, just to help explain a privateer. America commissioned privateers for the first time. Our Navy wasn't really ready to take on the British fleets. You know, we're a budding, blooming nation. One of the first ships commissioned by America was a ship called the Teazer, a schooner. Very fast, small, compact ship that could move swiftly across the waterways, was able to antagonize the ships. That was the goal. It was to tease the ships. It was to go in, blast with cannon when they had the opportunity, and get away swift. Unfortunately, the Teazer was captured by the British, and all the men were captured. And it's expensive to hold prisoners of war. And the British didn't really want to be expending all of that expense. They didn't want to be feeding American men when they had men. They had to feed in France. They had to feed up in Canada. Nobody really wants to have prisoners of war. They offered the men of the Teazer parole contract that basically said, we're going to let you go free. And in doing so, you are agreeing that you will not participate in the war. Very, very common kind of thing to do first time you catch somebody. And the men signed it. A ship was then built called the Young Teazer, which was a schooner as well, made for the same purpose. Also, a privateer ship, guaranteed almost all of the men from the old Teazer are aboard the Young Teazer. And again, this ship goes around and antagonizes the English. And they end up in a situation really made a big mistake naming their ship after the previous ship and doing all this very bold moves. But they end up in a situation where they're now facing down 3 British warships. Big, big ships, man. There was no escape. It was in the Mahone Bay, I believe was the name of this bay, in Nova Scotia, Canada, Ontario, Lake Ontario. And there was no escape. They were faster, but the warships can last longer, and the captain took his men into his quarters, and he explained to these men, we're not getting out of this one. We're in it now. We're going to have to fight. The ship was already down. A large group of men had already been lost. And there was no chance of winning. Or, I mean, it's possible, but highly unlikely that they were going to be able to take on this fleet. It was a suicide mission. They were also facing down the fact that they had signed contracts saying they would not participate in the War of 1812 any longer. When the British capture them, they're going to have to face the darkness of what will happen to them. At best, prisoners of war. At more likely, there will be some pretty severe consequences. You know, interrogations, torture, who knows? Your imagination is pretty powerful in a situation like that. And one of the men who the captain informed of this dire situation, a man named Lieutenant Johnson, excused himself from the captain's quarters, and he went down into the deep of the ship. The stocks, where the gunpowder is kept. And he ignited the gunpowder, and he ignited the entire hull of the ship. 37 men died aboard the Lonely Teazer. There were 7 survivors. Tragic tale. This is a ghost story because in Nova Scotia, they say you will see often sailing throughout Mahone Bay, sailing throughout any of that area. Occasionally you will see the flaming ship still sailing to this day. However, I've gone into the Library of Congress newspaper archives and I've searched for the Young Teazer's ghost. And I've pulled this up right here. See that? A survivor decided that he was going to honor his ship, the men who didn't make it, and the people that he served with, by building his own and naming it the Young Teazer's ghost. Teazer. It's essentially Teazer Part 3. And he bravely sailed around those waterways, but to the Nova Scotians, it was an absurd thing. The Young Teazer's ghost captivated their minds, and thus the story of the Young Teazer's ghost was born. They began telling the story that it is a flaming ship. It probably began in jest. Over the years, it entered into folklore, became a story of... Well, the reason why I treated this entire tale with irreverence is because this whole tale mostly seems to be that of mockery of the American rebellious spirit. But really, this story is tragic, and the ghost side of it is born from mocking a veteran. The tone that I took was the tone of the American rebel, kind of mocking the Canadian historian who is telling a story to mock the American rebel. I have included some clips of that so that you can see. With that, thank you for watching. Enjoy these clips coming up. I think they're pretty great. Although, unfortunately, they came across as, because of the context of the veteran, It also came up a little bit as mocking veterans, and that's why I've changed it. That's why I've re-recorded it, because I don't intend to mock any veterans. And so with that, thanks for joining. Here are the clips. Enjoy my outro. Like, comment, subscribe. Awesome. Today, we've got something that's really gonna rock the algorithm on YouTube. A video about the best war in American history. Well, no, it's the War of 1812. Today, we're doing a video of a ghost story from the War of 1812. Revolutionary War was homecoming night. You know, the nerd stood up to the bully and clocked him in the jaw at the Under the Sea dance. 1812 is like after the weekend, you run into Biff again in the hallways and you don't know what to do, so you just like fucking pants him and run away. So we're nervous, we're new, and we got the Brits up north. They're kind of kicking around up there like your noisy upstairs neighbors when all you're trying to do is read a book or get some goddamn sleep. America basically said to the Taser, gave him a contract agreeing to such, look, you take a couple of British ships, you seize their assets, maybe sink their ship. It's all right with us. We'll even pay you for it. Why not? That's a good deal. A win-win, man, for America. I just really hope this dude went and did the John McClane thing of yelling something really freaking epic, right? Before he dies, something really American, live free or die, bitches. America. Fuck yeah. 34 people died in the fire. And there were 7 survivors. Is there a moral to the story? Yeah, I think there is. The moral of the story is this. It's okay to violate your parole so long as you're willing to go out in a blaze of glory when you get caught. Alright, so that's the end of the video. Like, comment, subscribe, or whatever. There are videos here you can watch. I'm gonna go watch some Easy Rider, I think.